This weak bookworm, 𝒌𝒂, seemed pathetic, yet the world's strongest hunters were desperate to find him. They queued for days outside his shop, hoping to snatch legendary treasures found nowhere else on Earth. From elixirs to power scrolls, his legend began the day he found an ancient world tree text. While studying, he fell into a slumber and was suddenly pulled into a mysterious, hidden realm. He awoke in a fog-veiled forest, standing before a massive, withered tree stripped of all life. Yet, the ground was covered in divine herbs, usually found only in the most lethal S-rank dungeons. A single drop was worth a fortune. Then, a lone green sprout on the dead tree caught his eye. To save the seedling, 𝒌𝒂 watered it. Suddenly, a brilliant system notification flashed before his eyes. Wood Property Level 1 activated. The branch glowed with divine light, evolving into a massive tree. Its overwhelming aura caused nearby trees to instantly bear golden, glowing fruit across the forest. Solar apples, mythical high-rank dungeon treasures. He also harvested ice strawberries and rare red fossils. As he questioned where he was, a sudden noise nearby alerted him to a presence in the mist. 𝒌𝒂 turned to face the sound, and a surprisingly cute creature emerged from the shadows before him. The system identified it as a Teratron, a mythical beast car-sized with massive, crushing mandibles. 𝒌𝒂 was stunned by their appearance. A mysterious barrier blocked his path, preventing him from moving forward. The beetles were rushing toward a battle. Suddenly, a swarm of vicious demonic ants emerged from the dark. These truck-sized monsters were lethal predators. Kill one, and 10 more appear in an endless, terrifying tide. The Teratrons were clashing with the ants. 𝒌𝒂 knew these ants carried venom more dangerous than death itself, but something felt strange about their size. Even the Teratrons were being pushed back by the relentless swarm. A single blow downed a beetle. The Teratrons were losing, and 𝒌𝒂 wondered why they fought so hard. A legion war has begun. Will you support your Teratrons? The system offered a fateful choice. Choose yes or no. 𝒌𝒂 realized he could actually intervene in this epic, mythical struggle. He didn't hesitate and chose yes. He couldn't fight directly, but he used gems to buff his legion. Empowered by his essence stones, the beetles evolved. Their strength exploded as they surged forward with newfound power. In an instant, victory was theirs. The beetles chirped in joy, celebrating their triumph over the demonic ants. To thank him, they brought piles of essence. 𝒌𝒂 humbly took only a few, leaving the rest for them. Suddenly, the barrier shattered, and the fog vanished. 𝒌𝒂 realized he had stayed in this world far too long. He ventured deeper into the woods. The temperature plummeted, and he used a lighter to stay warm. The forest path was finally open. 𝒌𝒂 scanned his surroundings, sensing that the environment had shifted dangerously. Danger felt closer than ever before. He knew he shouldn't push his luck in such a treacherous place. As he prepared to leave, the Teratrons reappeared. They carried blue shells, the seeds of the legendary bone flower. These mythical seeds were a gift for 𝒌𝒂. He realized these beetles came from the terrifying forest further ahead. Quest, save the queen. The Teratrons were begging for his help to rescue their captured monarch. Will you accept the quest? 𝒌𝒂 smiled and agreed, promising to return the next day to help. He spent the night preparing for war. He brought healing potions, antitoxins, and massive buffs for his army. The next day, the empowered Teratrons charged. They marched toward the demonic ant nest for a final stand. The ant nest was a fortress of nightmares. It stood 3 meters tall, crawling with thousands of venomous soldiers. The two armies collided in a brutal clash. The war for the queen has officially commenced. 𝒌𝒂 watched from the sidelines. His buffs had made the Teratrons stronger, yet they were still outnumbered. Hidden ability unlocked. You may assist once with your power, the Great Slam. It required 3 essence points to activate. But how could he slam enemies from such a distance? 𝒌𝒂 felt conflicted by the system's instructions. Using his bare hands seemed impossible with only one shot. He scanned the battlefield for a target. Then, he spotted the winged demonic ants circling in the sky. Warning, winged messenger ants spotted. These were the scouts calling for reinforcements to crush his army. 𝒌𝒂 focused his gaze on the flying pests. He knew exactly what he had to do to win. With one cold strike, 𝒌𝒂 crushed the demon ant's messenger. No intel would escape his grasp today. The demon swarm trembled in pure terror as their scout was pulverized. Death hung heavy in the air. This display of power ignited the Teratron's fighting spirit. They surged forward. completely overwhelming the enemy forces. The battle reached its end, and the Pterodron Queen was finally secured. Though battered, she stood to thank 𝒌𝒑. A system alert flashed. The queen wished to swear a blood oath of eternal loyalty to her savior. By signing this pact, 𝒌𝒑 would become the sovereign patron of the Pterodron Legion, gaining legendary rewards. The choice was simple: accept or decline. 𝒌𝒑 didn't hesitate. This was a partnership destined for greatness. They would survive and grow stronger together. 𝒌𝒑 officially sealed the contract with the Pterodron Queen. Upon signing, the queen evolved into a majestic Pterodron warrior. She signaled her vast legion to fall in. They brought a mountain of essences to 𝒌𝒑. He only needed 10, yet they offered him an empire's worth. The general also gifted him rare seeds, including mysterious fruit seeds from the depths of the forest. 𝒌𝒑 left the cultivation to the forest's magic. Now, he contemplated building a sanctuary in this mystical wild. Meanwhile, in Seoul's elite hunter district, a desperate crowd fought over rare supplies at a famous shop. Rage erupted when the anti-paralysis medicine sold out. The staff could only bow, begging for 1 hour's patience. The atmosphere was explosive with tension until the room suddenly went silent. A powerful presence had arrived. It was the legendary sword witch, Seo Haijin. She ignored the whispers, her icy gaze piercing through the crowd. Haijin demanded the manager immediately. He appeared moments later, greeting the high-ranking hunter with deep reverence. She hadn't planned on coming, but the manager's silence on the phone forced her hand. She needed answers. Where were the potions promised yesterday? The manager apologized, citing an overwhelming surge in high-priority orders. He begged her to wait, but Haijin's time was running out. She had exactly 30 minutes before her raid. Checking her maps for any nearby shops, she prepared for the worst. Meanwhile, 𝒌𝒑 was busy brewing destiny. Using forest ingredients, 𝒌𝒑 crafted a new concoction. A golden light flashed as a system window appeared. He had unlocked the title, Master Alchemist. Even 𝒌𝒑 was stunned by the sudden leap in his achievements. He weighed the potion in his hand, wondering about its worth. The market had never seen anything like this. Its effect was reality-shattering. 0 skill consumption for 14 seconds. It was a god-tier buff, purely unbelievable. Before selling such a dangerous treasure, he needed to test it. But a sudden visitor interrupted his thoughts. Haijin burst in, her face etched with desperation. She needed medicine, and she needed it right now. Her eyes locked onto the glowing vial in 𝒌𝒑's hand. She sensed the immense power radiating from the fluid. She demanded to know its effects. 𝒌𝒑 started to explain it wasn't for sale, but she wasn't listening. With a hurried apology, she snatched the bottle. If it worked, she would take full responsibility for it. She threw a stack of cash onto the table and vanished before 𝒌𝒑 could even utter a word. Back at the dungeon, Haijin moved like a gale. Her blades sang as she decimated the mole monsters. She sprinted deeper into the shadows, leaving the resource collectors staring in absolute awe of her speed. Her teammates warned the others not to interfere. They knew better than to disturb a witch's focus. They whispered about her change in style. Haijin used to lead, but now, she only walked a solitary path. Ever since that tragic incident, she had abandoned teamwork entirely, choosing the lonely road of a solo hunter. A newcomer asked about her dark past, but before an answer came, a blood-curdling scream echoed through the trees. "Run!" Haijin's voice thundered with urgency. Out of the darkness, a nightmare finally revealed its hideous form. The Stalker, a hatred-class monstrosity. It was a fortress of armored scales and lethal, soul-dissolving venom. The hunters froze in terror. A rank 4 dungeon should never house a beast of such catastrophic power. Haijin commanded them to flee as she charged forward, her aura flaring against the overwhelming darkness ahead. She unleashed a whirlwind of strikes, but the beast swatted her away like a mere insect, crushing her momentum. It was too strong. Her essence was depleted, leaving her only enough strength to buy the others a few seconds. In her darkest moment, she thought of her fallen comrade, Sung-hyuk. But he was gone. She was alone. With no other choice, she placed her fate in 𝒌𝒑's mysterious potion and drank every single drop. Haijin was frozen. The potion tasted like a divine nectar, more refreshing than any drink she had ever experienced. Essence surged through her veins. With this power, she roared, activating the devastating Berserk Blade skill in an instant. In a flash, the monster was shredded. Haijin stood shocked. The potion's recovery rate was truly god-tier and unbelievable. Her stamina barely dropped. She maintained the berserk blade for 10 seconds, shattering her previous 3-second mortal limit. This miracle was all thanks to that shop. She wondered, what kind of legendary hidden master runs that place? Back at the shop, the door swung open. 𝒌𝒂 froze as a fierce Heejin marched straight toward him. He forced a smile, greeting his customer, while inwardly praying. This terrifying warrior always seemed to be fuming. Heejin demanded to know the secret behind that potion. 𝒌𝒂 broke into a cold sweat under her intense gaze. Outside, whispers spread like wildfire. Everyone talked about the lone warrior who had annihilated the high-ranking beast alone. Softening, she apologized for her aggression. 𝒌𝒂 nervously asked if the potion had any side effects or issues. She revealed the truth. 14% health restored with 0 mana cost. Such a legendary item was unheard of. 𝒌𝒂 played it cool, praising her solo victory. He called her amazing, trying to divert the spotlight from himself. She slammed the table in fury. It wasn't her talent, it was his potion. She demanded the source of power. He didn't hide it. Pulling out a sun apple, he claimed this simple fruit was the core ingredient used. He claimed it was a lucky rank 0 dungeon find. Heejin narrowed her eyes, doubting such luck existed. 𝒌𝒂 lied to protect his secret forest. He smiled, genuinely glad his concoction had saved her life in battle. She pointed at a blue vial, asking what it was. 𝒌𝒂 explained it was his new ice resistance potion. It granted 32% resistance for 40 minutes. Heejin gasped the stats were ridiculously high for a common shop. Where did this come from? 𝒌𝒂 recalled the system notification. Winter strawberry level 1, harvested from the secret zone. He repeated the rank 0 dungeon lie. But Heejin wasn't a fool. She saw right through his clumsy facade. You're a terrible liar, she muttered. She wouldn't pry, but she demanded to buy his entire remaining stock. 𝒌𝒂 could not believe his ears. Was she really going to clear out the whole shop in one go? She dropped a stack of cash, no receipt needed, and vanished. 𝒌𝒂 tried to offer change, but she was gone. Before leaving, she asked his name. Upon hearing 𝒍𝒂𝒗𝒆, she gave a rare smile and then departed. Scene shift to Seoul Area 5. 𝒌𝒂 waited in a quiet corner until a familiar voice called his name. Han Sunjang appeared, breathless and apologetic. 𝒌𝒂 told her there was no rush, worried she might hurt herself. Right on cue, the clumsy girl tripped and fell. 𝒌𝒂 sighed. Some things never change with this bookworm. He helped her up. This scatterbrain was actually South Korea's legendary, one-of-a-kind origami hunter and a total bookworm. Their bond was forged through a mutual obsession with rare books and ancient, forgotten knowledge of the world. After sharing breakfast, Sunjang handed him a mysterious book she had found at a local bookstore recently. The manager hated it. Customers only bought it for decoration and returned it when they could not read it. She thought it suited his shop perfectly. 𝒌𝒂 initially doubted its value, until his system suddenly roared to life. A legendary alert flashed. Infinite grimoire obtained. To unlock its power, he needed rare materials like Thunderbird feathers. He needed Thunderbird feathers and primal ink. Sunjang looked on, unaware that he was holding a divine artifact. He asked if it was just a prop. She confirmed the pages were blank, even after she tried writing. 𝒌𝒂 realized only he could see the potential. The grimoire remained sealed until the proper catalyst was finally found. He realized she could not see the system messages. To her, it was just a strange, empty old book. She apologized if he hated it, but 𝒌𝒂 beamed. I love it. This is exactly what I needed. Back home, the book remained stubborn. Without the Thunderbird feather, the legendary ink would not touch the page. The system warned. Thunderbirds are mythical creatures, rarely seen outside the most dangerous, desolate, desert, and polar regions. With a 25-meter wingspan, hunting it was suicidal. 𝒌𝒂 realized he was not strong enough to hunt it. For now, the artifact would remain a mere decoration. But suddenly, his system began glitching with new alerts. Beautiful handwriting level 1 and ancient magic level 1 acquired. 𝒌𝒂 felt a strange surge of power. He tested his new skill. Immediately, the system notified him that his handwriting had already leveled up again. With his newfound traits, 𝒌𝒂 began experimenting. The path to becoming an invincible legend was finally opening up. He failed. Even with his skill, the book stayed silent. His handwriting was legendary, yet the magic remained locked away. A sudden roar. A rift tore through the fabric of reality. The Thunderbird's gate opened. He had only 1 hour. Danger radiated from within, yet he stepped into the light. A paradise appeared. This was no place for a monster. The sky split. A mountain-sized bird descended, a true titan, a monstrous beast. How could a low-born outcast survive this? Wait! Divine feathers littered the ground. A windfall of luck. Feathers secured. Teratron provided the mystical, glowing, emerald ink. Preparations were complete. Time to awaken the book's hidden power. Mana surged through him, igniting the ancient, dusty pages. Glowing runes appeared, carved into the bark of a tree. Ancient magic. Creation, harmony, innovation, and the terror of destruction. These were forbidden powers, untamable by any ordinary human soul. Had the world tree bestowed this burden upon the ancients? Was he the only one left to master this art? Runes materialized. The book's secret conditions were finally met. He looked closer. This tree. It was his own sapling. Could this tiny plant truly be the legendary world tree? He had to copy them before the magic vanished forever. Instinct took over. He understood the rune of destruction immediately. Flames of annihilation. The power felt heavy with ancient blood. A scroll was born. Pure, concentrated energy in his hand. He tore it out. A weapon of absolute mass destruction. The book healed. Truly an infinite treasure for a king. Endless scrolls. He would master every ancient, forbidden secret. It boosted destructive force. But he lacked a proper test. The scene shifted. Back at the shop, a visitor arrived. 𝒂𝒆, the Eternal Flame's queen, stood before him. "You're impossible to find." She slammed the table in fury. Jiha bowed. To this noble, he was just a pest. 𝒂𝒆 glared. This talent looked like a common, weak nobody. Her gaze pierced him. Was she planning his sudden demise? "I want your goods, not your excuses," she snapped coldly. She threw her card. Her pride as a noble soared. The guild leader demanded his legendary Sun Apple elixir. Jiha checked the shelves. His heart sank into his chest. Sold out. He had been too focused on his runes. He had neglected his shop for the sake of power. He begged for time, looking like a pathetic, kicked puppy. 𝒂𝒆 turned to leave, her disappointment burning like ice. He handed her the destruction scroll as a final offering. She left. Suddenly, her sheathed blade began to hum loudly. Inside the dungeon, she unleashed hell. The power was monstrous. Her power was surging. Even her ancient stone pulsed with newfound energy during the sudden ambush. Spiders struck. 𝒂𝒆 evaded them effortlessly, while her teammates watched her grace in pure awe. She unleashed Jiha's scroll. A single strike obliterated every monster in a blinding flash of light. Meanwhile, Jiha perfected his latest brew, blending sunlight apples with rare winter strawberries. Just as the shipment was ready, 𝒂𝒆 arrived, but this time a mysterious man followed. This was Choi Chuk-hun 𝒂𝒆. Bypassed small talk, slamming a briefcase of cash down. Jiha stood unmoved. His lack of greed baffled 𝒂𝒆. Why sell god-tier potions for pennies? She suspected a hidden motive, but Jiha simply waved it off, claiming the cash was overwhelming. It wasn't that he hated money, he was just stunned by the sheer scale of her offer. 𝒂𝒆 insisted that scroll was easily S rank, and she wouldn't accept such charity. Taking it for free felt wrong. She offered a blank check telling him to name his price. To her absolute shock, Jiha refused again. His humble nature was starting to irritate her. He explained the scroll was a mere apology, a small token for making her wait so long. Besides, he only wanted to test its power, and the results had exceeded all expectations. 𝒂𝒆 grew serious. She asked if a goose laid golden eggs for free, what would happen? Jiha innocently replied that everyone would be wealthy, but 𝒂𝒆 sighed at his dangerous naivety. Wealth is one thing, but greed is another. That goose would soon become a target. His talent was a miracle, but in this cutthroat world, it was a massive death flag. With a heavy gaze, she made her move, inviting Jiha to the Eternal Fire Guild. The offer was sudden. 𝒂𝒆 explained her harsh words were only out of genuine concern. Inside her guild, he would be safe. She brought cash to prove they valued his genius. They would pay him what a master deserved, ensuring his talent was never exploited by others. Jiha hesitated. A top-tier guild like hers didn't need to prove its worth like this. 𝒂𝒆 doubled down. She wanted him to see the elite treatment waiting for his legendary talent. People thought they only had mages, but their alchemy department was second to none. She introduced Chuk-hun, the alchemy head, pointing out their unparalleled divine research facilities. With these resources, Jiha's research could reach heights he had never even dreamed of before. salary bonuses, and total freedom. She even offered him a high-ranking executive position. Yet 𝒌𝒂 politely declined, leaving 𝑭𝒍𝒂𝒃 completely frozen in a state of utter disbelief. Was her guild not good enough? 𝒌𝒂 explained the position was simply too much for him. He suggested she find someone more worthy, sparking a fire of pure rage in 𝑭𝒍𝒂𝒃's eyes. If not for 𝒍�𝒃, she might have attacked. She hated how he undervalued his soul. 𝒌𝒂 confessed he was just a low-rank hunter, a man without attributes, surviving on luck. He claimed his success came from a mysterious friend, not his own innate power or skill. He feared this borrowed power might vanish, leaving him with nothing but broken, empty promises. He didn't want to leave his home, and his sincerity finally silenced 𝑭𝒍𝒂𝒃's growing fury. 𝒍�𝒃 stepped in, advising 𝑭𝒍𝒂𝒃 to respect his choice. 𝒌𝒂 promised to be careful. He even joked about raising his prices, making 𝑭𝒍𝒂𝒃 sigh at his unpredictable, strange nature. She finally gave up, but left him with a final warning never to regret this decision. 𝒌𝒂 smiled, claiming his ringing bell plant would warn him long before any danger arrived. This mystical plant was his guardian, vibrating the moment a threat neared its master's side. Ever since the gates opened, the beauty of nature had become a forbidden luxury for humanity. Monsters infested every shore and valley, making peace a dream of the distant, forgotten past. But here in the Mia forest, 𝒌𝒂 breathed deep, soaking in the rare, tranquil scenery. To him, the ocean was the only cure for a heavy heart in this sanctuary. A hidden forest? No, it's a vast ocean. To him, this place is nothing short of a paradise on earth. Now, he must focus on his shop rather than this dreamscape. But yesterday's exhaustion still weighs heavily on his soul. Recalling one's grand invitation, he sighs. Perhaps he truly isn't worthy of being a legendary shopkeeper just yet. 𝒌𝒂 comforts himself. Whether it's a shop or a sanctuary, he'll spend the night healing his weary heart with books. The grueling fatigue of human interaction fades away. In this mystical forest, silence is his only true companion. But fate is unpredictable. In this world, uninvited guests can shatter the peace at any given moment. 2 hours ago, 𝒌𝒂 was basking in the tranquil night. Listening to the waves was his only mission. Once, sitting by the shore was simple. Now, the coastline has become a forbidden zone for all of humanity. He realizes how lucky he is to hear the rhythm of the tides. This moment is a rare, stolen blessing. He dreams of bringing his allies here one day. Suddenly, a strange sound cuts through the midnight air. His gaze sharpens toward the noise. It sounds like a cat's cry. Torch in hand, he ventures into the dark. It's like a kitten's mewl, yet strangely different. Since the warning bells are silent, no immediate danger lurks nearby. 𝒍𝒂𝒃 joins the search as the cries grow louder. Something is waiting for them just ahead in the shadows. A small creature emerges. The system identifies it as an actus. It's remarkably large for a simple house cat. The creature looks frail and ill. 𝒌𝒂 hesitates, unsure if human medicine will work. Meanwhile, 𝒍𝒂𝒃 demands his attention. 𝒌𝒂 quickly apologizes to his old friend. He was so focused on the newcomer that he ignored his loyal companions. The 𝒍𝒂𝒃s offer 2 fish for the sick actus. 𝒌𝒂 thanks them, promising a feast of delicious treats later. Fortunately, the little one swallows the medicine. 𝒌𝒂 watches closely, noticing the creature is still shivering in pain. It falls into a deep sleep, but 𝒌𝒂's heart remains heavy. He wonders what other mysteries this forest hides. Despite exploring, this is his first encounter with local wildlife. He gently strokes its head, wondering where it came from. The kitten wakes with a soft cry, startled by his touch. 𝒌𝒂 instantly panics and apologizes to the little actus. The creature purrs and rubs against his hand. Its sheer cuteness sends a surge of excitement through 𝒌𝒂's heart. He lifts the kitten, marveling at its tiger-like features. He decides on a name. From today, it shall be Bomb. Stay with me, he whispers. By the next day, Bomb's lethal charms have conquered the hearts of every customer. One woman reaches out to pet him, but Bomb strikes her hand with a fierce, aristocratic glare of disdain. 𝒌𝒂 bows in apology to the startled customer. Afterward, he turns to give little Bomb a stern, fatherly lecture. Bomb is only sweet to 𝒌𝒂, acting aggressive toward everyone else. Such a temper is a problem for a shop. He can't leave the kitten alone, nor can he hide Bomb's legendary cuteness from the rest of the world. Suddenly, Hien arrives. She claims she had business nearby and just wanted to drop by the shop for a bit. She offers him coffee, but the sudden sight of Bomb sends a shockwave of terror through her entire body. 𝒌𝒂 introduces them warmly. but Hien trembles, clinging to a nearby clothes rack as if her life depended on it. She hands over the coffee and leaps back in fear. 𝒌𝒂 realizes he never knew she was terrified of cats. He tells 𝒏𝒊 to step down, but the kitten suddenly acts incredibly charming and friendly toward the frightened Hien. 𝒌𝒂 notes that �𝒊 seems to want her affection. Hesitantly, Hien reaches out to touch the soft, legendary fur. �𝒊's charms melt her fear away instantly. Then, Hien brings up the power-up scrolls that have the hunter forums buzzing. Even the guild master of Eternal Flame is interested. She marvels at how 𝒌𝒂 gives away such priceless treasures. These scrolls are worth hundreds of millions. Is he a saint with no greed, or just a total fool? She realizes he simply lives without calculation. His presence brings a rare, comfortable peace to everyone around him. That warmth is why she keeps coming back. Suddenly, the warning bells scream with a terrifying, rhythmic intensity. A disaster level 4 alert flashes. A massive catastrophe is unfolding, and all civilians must evacuate immediately. Hien screams for 𝒌𝒂 to run. Every hunter on site begins mobilizing to guide the panicked crowds to safety. A level 4 alert means a rank 4 dungeon break. The stakes have just escalated to a life or death struggle. He prays that the high-ranking hunters can contain the chaos. If they fail, everything they know will crumble. "Don't be afraid," 𝒌𝒂 whispers, clutching 𝒏𝒊. Suddenly, a violent earthquake rips through the very foundation of the building. Screams of pure terror echo as the world shakes. In his arms, the true face of the crisis begins. Total catastrophe erupts when a raid fails. Low-tier dungeons bring chaos, but a failed high-rank mission means certain death. Minor damage is a luxury. If a rank 4 gate or higher breaks, the entire world begins to bleed in terror. Massive evacuations trigger for kilometers as the breach widens. Military units deploy instantly, bracing for the coming tide of darkness. Elite hunters are summoned to the front lines. Among them is Hien, her heart heavy as the tension reaches a breaking point. Ghastly skeletons pour out from the spatial void. Faced with this nightmare, the soldiers prepare to unleash absolute leaden hell. Open fire. A storm of bullets and nuclear warheads engulfs the undead in a cleansing, white-hot sea of divine flames. The undead dungeon raid was a failure, but with such overwhelming firepower, surely this war would end quickly. Or so they thought. The white-haired leader decides to move. After clearing the remnants, he issues a final, cold command to his loyal subordinates. "Concentrate all fire on the rift. Seal the breach and slaughter every monster that dares to crawl into our world." He calculated every variable, but then a grotesque entity emerged. Fear gripped them as he ordered an emergency full-power strike. No matter the impact, their attacks were useless. The monster shrugged off the flames and lunged toward the defenseless humans. It ignored the soldiers entirely, charging straight for the civilian shelter. Panic rose as the steel doors stood in its path. Hien and 𝒁 intercept the beast, desperate to halt its advance. Yet, even their combined strength barely slowed its rampage. Part of the shelter crumbles under the beast's might. Hien dives into the fray, ignoring 𝒁's warnings to protect the innocent. Inside, 𝒌𝒂 watches the chaos with trembling eyes. The situation outside is desperate, and the stench of death is everywhere. He should run, but his legs are frozen. As the monster spots him and prepares to strike, destiny takes a turn. A blinding light explodes. 𝒏𝒊 stands before him, blocking a massive claw that could crush a mountain with ease. The monster sneered at the tiny cat, but then it froze. A terrifying godlike aura from 𝒏𝒊 paralyzed the beast's soul. Taking the chance, Hien and 𝒁 unleash a final strike. The monster falls, and Hien rushes in to check the survivors. Seeing 𝒌𝒂 safe brings her relief, but the strange, haunting look on his face leaves her feeling deeply unsettled. Fire consumes the ruins. Not a single spark of life remains outside. The tragedy has left a scar on the world. Later, at 𝒌𝒂's home, he rests after a long shower. 𝒏𝒊 leaps into his lap, purring and seeking his gentle touch. 𝒏𝒊 seemed furious at the monster earlier, but now he is calm. 𝒌𝒂 sinks into a deep, mysterious silence. His thoughts wander into the shadows of his past. He picks up his pen to update the secret Mia Wiki entries. News of the 15-meter monster spreads like wildfire. An emergency meeting is called as the world's leaders tremble in fear. Theories fly across the room, but the commander remains silent. Hien stands and speaks with a sharp, piercing gravity. Was the person who repelled the beast a commoner or a hidden hunter? 𝒂𝒗𝒆 speaks up, her eyes wide with excitement. I heard rumors of a cat crying out as a divine, golden energy flooded the shelter. It was like a miracle. The leader is skeptical. He notes that the simple shopkeeper was also present when the mysterious power first appeared. Could that small creature truly be a snow leopard in disguise? The mystery deepens as they investigate the shopkeeper's cat. Suddenly, 3 figures burst into 𝒌𝒂's shop. They demand in unison to see the cat that defied a monster. 𝒌𝒂 worries they might be frightened, but 𝒏𝒊𝒅 simply jumps onto the counter with an innocent, wide-eyed expression. 𝒂𝒗𝒆 gently picks him up. Is this truly the beast that emitted that legendary aura? He looks so normal. She ignores 𝒌𝒂's warnings and strokes 𝒏𝒊𝒅's head. The cat's patience wears thin as he glares at the intruder. Chomp! 𝒏𝒊𝒅 bites her hand and retreats to his throne. Hin shifts the conversation toward the recent dungeon disaster. You were there the whole time, weren't you? Reports say a cat's cry echoed right before the monster retreated. 𝒌𝒂 struggles to find an answer, but �𝒊𝒅's sudden playful chaos distracts them all, leaving the hunters feeling utterly confused. After analyzing the situation, they conclude that �𝒊𝒅 is just an ordinary pet. There was nothing supernatural about him, apparently. They finally leave 𝒌𝒂's shop, but the seeds of doubt have been planted in the hearts of the high-rank hunters. Deep in the forest, 𝒌𝒂 rests beneath an ancient tree with �𝒊𝒅. He focuses intently on a mysterious, leather-bound book. He reads of Gehenna, a legendary continent where many races once lived in harmony under the Great World Tree. The World Tree birthed guardian gods to protect Gehenna. Nature's wrath was embodied in these divine, celestial protectors. White fur, black spots, and fangs that could tear through fate itself. 𝒌𝒂 looks at �𝒊𝒅, his heart racing with suspicion. This tiny cat couldn't possibly be a god, right? But the recent events suggest that nothing is a coincidence. As he falls deeper into thought, the ancient book begins to glow with a strange, otherworldly light. Destiny calls. A sudden system alert shattered his train of thought. Elsewhere, Seogang stared at the screen in pure disbelief. The news was grim. Stopping them won't be that simple, he muttered. Meanwhile, 𝒌𝒂 stood before the World Tree. He gazed at the ancient roots with a soft smile. You chose me. You brought me to this misty sanctuary. I still don't understand this heavy burden, but I know destiny never makes mistakes. There must be a reason. I'll give my all to help you. Suddenly, a surge of sinister dark mana sent chills down his spine. 𝒌𝒂 turned to see small, creeping shadows. Wait, are these high-ranking monsters? This pressure is insane. A red system alert flashed. The Lich army is approaching. They are bringing total annihilation to your doorstep. A full counter was impossible. Mitigate their destruction, the system urged. 𝒌𝒂 didn't hesitate for a single second. He accepted the mission instantly. After a moment of heavy silence, the time for contemplation finally ended. The Teratron Legion arrived like a divine storm. 𝒌𝒂 shifted his focus, realizing his direct intervention wasn't needed. He assisted the knights' tactical movement. Then, steel clashed. The front line exploded into a chaotic, bloody war. The Teratrons crushed the undead with ease. These warriors had evolved into a truly invincible, legendary force. Enraged by his losses, the Lich Lord joined the fray. His dark spells tore through the ranks like paper. The commander charged, parrying the Lich's death magic. 𝒌𝒂 watched closely, readying his secret trump card. Divine Blessing, activate. The buff hit perfectly. The commander's strength surged to a magnificent new peak. A massive blow sent the Lich reeling. The Teratron Knights swarmed the fallen monster like hungry wolves. Blades flashed, severing the monster's limbs. A message appeared. Life source of the Alpha Undead located. To destroy the source, upgrade your warriors. 5 essences were required. 𝒌𝒂 let out a dry, bitter laugh. Fine, take it. The essence flowed. Suddenly, a Teratron Knight transformed into a streak of lethal light. He tore through stone and steel. The Lich leader stood no chance as the sealing box swung open. A vortex pulled the Lich inside. Eerie blue flames erupted, consuming the last of his wretched darkness. Silence returned as the flames died out. Victory was absolute. The Teratrons gathered, carrying the spoils to 𝒌𝒂. They offered crates of rare loot and pure essence, a silent tribute for his brilliant tactical support. 𝒌𝒂 thanked his loyal army. Then, the commander presented a unique, mysterious chest reserved only for him. The chest expanded, vibrating with power. 𝒌𝒆 opened it to find a hoard of legendary, ancient treasures. With the battle over, the real work began. Time to purify this corrupted land, 𝒌𝒆 muttered. Quest update. Step 1. Neutralize the lich. Step 2. Purify the surrounding rot and corruption. Together, they dug into the blackened earth. Every shovel stroke fought back the spreading, soul-chilling rot. This soil needs the forest's heart. Only there could the ancient corruption be fully wiped away forever. The commander offered ink, requesting a scroll. 𝒌𝒆 hesitated. He lacked the sacred, ancient knowledge required. I can't read the runes. But the tree responded, glowing with celestial, glowing scripts from its bark. He scribbled the powerful symbols immediately. Suddenly, 𝒏𝒊𝒻 lunged, nearly knocking 𝒌𝒆 over with a playful pounce. The commander inspected the scroll with a grin. He tore the page, ready to unleash its hidden power. He vanished in a flash, leaving 𝒌𝒆 bewildered. Meanwhile, in the dark mountains, a haunting wail echoed. "This is our domain. Death to all intruders." In the shadows below, 2 figures whispered in secret. "What a joke," one mocked. They laughed at the undead's pathetic threats of total extinction for all life. A brilliant light cut through the gloom. "This sanctuary belongs to us. Our peace is sacred and eternal. Violate it, and you die." Taratron stepped through a portal, radiating a terrifying, murderous aura of death. The lich shrieked, "Curse you, tree-born scum! Die!" He gathered his darkest mana to strike a killing blow. Taratron's blade descended like a god's wrath. The undead shattered. The lich fired back in pure desperation. The attack did nothing. Cold fear gripped the lich. Impossible. How can he be this powerful? Before he could react, the commander signaled, "Crush them all." The slaughter that followed was absolute. Back at the shop, 𝒌𝒆's greeting died in his throat. Seogang burst in, looking absolutely terrified. He pointed at the TV. Reports were everywhere. Undead legions were rising across the entire world simultaneously. Mysterious knights have appeared, the news blared. The world was plunging into a beautiful, chaotic madness. Seeking answers, 𝒌𝒆 ventured into the forest to confront the knights. Before he could speak, their courage withered. "Calm yourselves," 𝒌𝒆 commanded. "You've committed no crime." He looked at the trembling outcasts, sensing their hidden connection. "The Jiri incident. It was you, wasn't it?" The Taratron commander stood frozen, unable to withstand 𝒌𝒆's piercing gaze. Desperate, the young knights offered a mountain of energy essences and spirit stones. They hoped to appease this rising legend. 𝒌𝒆 sighed, refusing the bribe. "I don't need your riches. I only seek the truth behind Jiri's mysterious protectors." Taron confirmed the truth with a silent nod. A rare smile crossed 𝒌𝒆's face as he realized these kids were heroes. "Relax. I'm not here to punish you." He praised them. "You did well cleansing those abominations from the Jiri lands." Their faces lit up with joy at the legend's approval. As they departed, they left behind a massive treasure trove. Among the mana stones lay a legendary E-rank relic, a trophy ripped from the cold hands of a fallen lich. 𝒏𝒊𝒻's eyes sparkled with greed. Without hesitation, 𝒌𝒆 handed over the gem only to watch the cat swallow it whole. After feeding his companion, 𝒌𝒆 absorbed the remaining stones, every fiber of his being vibrated with newfound, overwhelming power. This strength was enough for now. Later, at the Hunters Guild, he met the veteran master, Elder Guangqiu. As they discussed dungeon strategies, the atmosphere shifted. Seohun appeared, her presence commanding the attention of every hunter. Ignoring the stares, she approached 𝒌𝒆. "Dungeon crawling is safer with a partner. Shall we go?" she suggested. While others vied for her favor, Seohun only had eyes for 𝒌𝒆, leading him deep into the Emerald Forest. Amidst their talk of dungeons and destiny, 𝒌𝒆 stopped. From his bag, 𝒏𝒊𝒻 poked out his head to sniff the air. Hun reached out to pet the beast, but 𝒏𝒊𝒻's icy glare and sharp movement rejected her noble hand instantly. "He is picky about who touches him," 𝒌𝒆 chuckled. Together, this unlikely trio ventured deeper into the wood's shadows. Suddenly, 𝒏𝒊𝒻 froze. His fur bristled as he entered a lethal combat stance. A foul aura saturated the air. Hun drew her blade, shielding 𝒌𝒆. "Stay back," she warned, preparing for a struggle against the approaching darkness. The world twisted. The forest warped into a rank 5 nightmare, the very place where the hero Sung-hook vanished. "A high-tier danger zone," 𝒌𝒆 noted. The air grew heavy, with the stench of blood and ancient, dormant monsters. Hoon downed a power potion. "Run to the exit. I will hold them off," she shouted as the beasts lunged. 𝒌𝒂 worried for her, but 𝒏𝒊𝒻 moved first. Like a white flash of death, the cat charged the monster horde. The monsters screamed in terror, but 𝒏𝒊𝒻 was faster. Those who could not flee were instantly torn apart by fangs. After the massacre, 𝒏𝒊𝒻 calmly brought a mysterious seed to 𝒌𝒂's feet, acting as if nothing had happened. Hoon stood stunned. Why did rank 5 monsters flee from a cat? She refused to leave without finding a trace. 𝒌𝒂 handed her a high-grade potion. "We go together," he insisted, his voice carrying the weight of a legend. As dusk fell, they pushed forward. Hoon vowed to protect him, unaware that 𝒌𝒂 was the true apex predator. Suddenly, a faint glimmer emanated from a hidden cave. "The answers lie within," 𝒌𝒂 whispered, sensing a dark secret. They stepped inside. The metallic scent of blood filled the tunnel, sending a chill down Hoon's spine as they advanced. They found its shattered armor and a broken sword. Hoon's heart broke, fearing the worst for her lost brother. "Look closely," 𝒌𝒂 calmed her. "The blood stops here. He might have treated his wounds and escaped this hell." Hope flickered in her eyes again. Meanwhile, 𝒏𝒊𝒻 sniffed the gear, sensing a secret hidden beneath the cold steel. A system notification flashed. Beneath the wreckage lay a symbiose egg, an item of immense, world-shaking potential. 𝒌𝒂 stared at the egg, lost in thought. This was the key to finding the survivor in this cursed place. 𝒏𝒊𝒻 nudged his hand, seeking praise. 𝒌𝒂 smiled, stroking the cat's head. "Good job, partner. You've saved a life today." "He is alive," 𝒌𝒂 declared firmly. Tears of relief streamed down Hoon's face as the heavy burden finally lifted. They emerged from the cave as heroes. Hoon bowed deeply, her gratitude toward 𝒌𝒂 transcending any words. "It was nothing," 𝒌𝒂 replied humbly. But Hoon knew better. This man possessed a luck and power that defied logic. She teased him about his modesty, while 𝒏𝒊𝒻 hissed at the woman, clearly tired of her flirting with his master. "Call me whenever you need help," she promised. 𝒌𝒂 accepted, sealing a pact between an outcast and a noble. As they shook hands, 𝒏𝒊𝒻 swiped his paw between them, breaking the contact with a jealous, territorial growl. Hoon laughed and patted the cat's head. 𝒏𝒊𝒻 grumbled, but finally accepted the praise from the woman he saved. Their fates were now intertwined. As the sun set, the invincible sword legend prepared for his next rise to glory. Seeking answers, 𝒌𝒂 returns to his office to investigate his harvest. His research is interrupted when 𝒏𝒊𝒻 clumsily scatters his books. He realizes the truth isn't here. He must go there. "I'll see you in the dream," he whispers to his cat. He awakens in the sacred realm, breathing in the pure mana. The world tree has evolved, bearing fruits of legendary power. Tiny Terratron knights salute their master as he offers an item. They recognize the artifact, nodding with frantic, soul-deep excitement. The system chimes. "Hatch the symbiose egg." 𝒌𝒂 agrees instantly. Deep in the nest, he presents the egg to the queen. The queen cradles the egg as a thunderous roar erupts. A Terratron legion marches as the symbiose hatchling finally emerges. Mythical mist blankets the tree, signaling a massive system update. Sleeping symbiose awaken. The world tree's true restoration begins now. 𝒌𝒂 touches the notification, feeling his very destiny shift. Divine blessing received. Hidden class awakened. Legendary world, tree crafter. The forest expands, its boundaries pulsing with SSS-Rank energy. Higher tier fruits mean legendary potions and a path to riches. Returning to reality, the former outcast embraces his glorious fate. Rebuilding this world alongside the tree is his ultimate destiny. His hungry cat meows, breaking his deep, philosophical trance. He catches a glowing salmon, and the system reacts violently. Detailed stats appear, revealing the fish's hidden divine properties. He tests his newfound vision on his spatial storage bag. Full descriptions unlocked. No more manual explanations for his potions. With 𝒏𝒊𝒻 in tow, he sets off for the shop. A massive crowd of elite soul hunters gathers outside. 𝒏𝒊𝒻 acts as the clerk, handing out numbers to fans. 𝒌𝒂 asks about the rush. The man's answer is clear. "We're desperate. Will these legendary potions even last today? These brews are delicious and carry the power of legends. Even frontier hunters travel for these affordable, god-tier elixirs." Inside, he praises his loyal companion for the hard work. Seeing his success, he vows to use his blessings well. The World Tree's grace will change everyone's fate forever. A familiar face calls out to him with pure excitement. She's shocked that her friend is the legendary shopmaster. She begs for more, but 𝒌𝒆 maintains the strict limit. Instead, he offers a mysterious gift, a handwritten scroll. It's a luck charm, he explains, as she gazes in awe. Elsewhere, hunters engage in a brutal, life-or-death monster raid. The leader shouts encouragement against the mountain-sized beast's fury. The monster strikes, its claws narrowly missing the young mage. Sudong staggers up, barely surviving the monster's devastating blow. Suddenly, the scroll glows. A wish-granting miracle begins to shine. Your tiniest desires shall manifest. If misfortune strikes, the rate for legendary items surges for 30 minutes. Within 30 minutes, before they could even stabilize, the ground fractured. A massive crack swallowed them whole. Everyone landed safely in the abyss, except for Sudong. He was in bad shape as the team looked up. This was no ordinary trap. It felt like a calculated design. One member unleashed a spell to pierce the darkness. Faint magical light flickered, illuminating the hidden chamber. Before them lay a treasure trove of ancient artifacts. They saw rows of pristine weapons and armor, untouched by time. Each piece glowed with legendary power. Realizing the ruins were unstable, they grabbed what they could. The entire structure groaned, threatening to bury them alive. Halfway out, a swarm of beasts erupted from the shadows. Chaos reigned, and Sudong felt death approaching. Elsewhere, the earth became rich and fertile thanks to mystical worms. The protagonist pondered what legendary seed to plant. 𝒁𝒂𝒃 rummaged through the inventory and bit into an item. With pleading eyes, he urged 𝒌𝒆 to sow it. Despite the ominous aura of the seed, he trusted 𝒁𝒂𝒃. He planted it, bracing for whatever power might sprout. Suddenly, a violent vibration shook the house. Someone was banging on the door, even though the shop was closed. 𝒌𝒆 didn't hesitate. He moved toward the entrance, senses sharp, ready for a confrontation with the unknown visitor. A sudden, icy gaze pierced through the door, sending a jolt of electricity through his body. Something was wrong. He opened the door to find the group looking pathetic. Why were they in such a battered state? Before he could speak, Sudong lunged at him. She screamed that his lucky charms were a total scam. A system window flickered before his eyes. It was the scroll of creative wishes, a relic of immense power. Your small wishes manifest, but bad luck triggers a 30-minute window for special item drops. A double-edged sword. With 1 out of 2 uses remaining, 𝒌𝒆 realized the hidden description finally unlocked. He invited them inside. Once they had cleaned up, they sat down to talk. The atmosphere was heavy with their recent brush with death. He realized their suffering was the price for using the scroll. The heavens don't grant power without a cost. Thankfully, they hadn't returned empty-handed. They had secured treasures that made the near-death experience worth the risk. 𝒌𝒆's eyes widened. The secret dungeon of the Night Order? This was a legendary site thought to be myth. Sudong pulled out an ancient artifact. "We found something you might like," she said, revealing a dusty journal. It was the record of the Grand Knight Commander, written in a dead tongue no modern scholar could decipher. 𝒌𝒆 began to read fluently. "The monsters of the Exam Kingdom have breached the borders." The room fell silent. They stared in awe. How could he read the ancient tongue? Then, a system alert revealed the Gehenna map. Though the map was fractured and damaged, its value was immeasurable. It held secrets of a lost continent. 𝒌𝒆 negotiated with cold precision. In exchange for the map, he offered her the highest-grade elixirs in his collection. After the trade was finalized, he saw them off. Alone in his office, the work of a legend began. This map, crafted by the Royal Knights, was on a different level. Every terrain and monster nest was recorded. It wasn't just a map. It was a tactical guide. It detailed creatures that even high rankers feared to face. Using his spatial skills, he blinked into the forest. He was searching for the elite Terone Knights to test. Suddenly, a crimson warning blared. A Cyclops, a Calamity-class monster, had manifested with a roar that shook the heavens. This was a beast of legend, rarely seen. Its massive size and overwhelming pressure signaled a true natural disaster. Rumors said it took an army of hunters to fell a Cyclops. 𝒌𝒆 stood alone against the Titan. 𝒌𝒆 glanced at 𝒁𝒂𝒃. "Shouldn't you help? That thing is a disaster." 𝒁𝒂𝒃 simply shook his head in refusal. With a sigh, 𝒌𝒆 pulled out his journal to record its weaknesses. Though he worried for the knights, the Cyclops unleashed a devastating blow. The Tyrone Knights scrambled, using raw essence stones as a desperate defense. They carved shields from the crystals to block the laser beam firing from the monster's singular, hateful eye. As the beam struck, a counter-offensive was launched. The beast's arm was severed in a spray of dark blood. Seizing the moment, the knights charged with fury. With one final strike, the Calamity-class beast finally collapsed. The knights flew toward 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆. Bumping his finger in celebration of their victory against the impossible titan, 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆 handed out high-grade essence stones as a reward. You did well. This power is yours to keep. System messages flooded his vision. Massive amounts of essence were flowing into him, fueling his rise to legend. Stunned, a girl scours 𝒍𝒂𝒂𝒃 for hidden secrets she has never seen before. Rare data finally appears. She spends her precious essence to unlock these forbidden posts. To gain the ultimate strategy, 10 more essence points are required, but she is empty. Elsewhere, a powerful man steps from his car. He watches the gathering crowds in confusion. He asks his assistant about today's events. The reply is chillingly normal. Nothing was scheduled. Why are hunters swarming here? The assistant reveals a viral post uploaded just yesterday. Confused, he discusses the essence issue. This data has caused a frenzy since early morning. The screens flicker to life. Every eye is glued to the legendary one-eyed monster's intel. Recognizing the threat, he immediately summons the intelligence team and emergency operations center. Orders are dispatched instantly. Meanwhile, in a secret room, leaders debate the 𝒍𝒂𝒃 leak. Fortunately, the main server remains impenetrable. No external interference has compromised their classified data. The world remains unaware of the internal chaos. The meeting ends with a final, grim command. Protecting the hunters' lives is now the absolute priority. Safety outweighs all other secondary goals. On the battlefield, the teams finish positioning. Tension rises as one hunter questions their formation. Can this squad actually win? Across the field, the opposing team looks equally unstable and desperate. The leader's voice cuts through the air. Tanks, hold your ground until the mirror shields activate. Following the perfect strategy, Hunter Kung B and I will strike once the opening appears. Hunter 𝒂𝒗𝒆 prepares a devastating fire buff. I will burn these monsters to crisp ashes. Suddenly, the Cyclops emerges. A lethal laser beam erupts from its eye, tearing through the air. He raises his shield just in time. He lunges forward, unleashing a high-speed killing strike. Hunter 𝒂𝒗𝒆 releases a barrage of meteorites. 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆 watches the broadcast as the battle intensifies. The Cyclops dungeon is cleared without casualties. 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆 realizes a shocking truth about his own power. His infinite spellbook and strategies are being directly uploaded to the world-renowned 𝒍𝒂𝒃. A notification shatters his thoughts. 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆 grabs his cat and teleports toward a new destiny. He arrives not on land, but amidst the vast ocean, standing atop a colossal creature. The system alerts him. The legendary World Eater is wounded and requires his immediate help. Knight Terran points toward a massive wound. 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆 stares at the mysterious, gaping hole in horror. Before he can react, seawater surges upward, drenching him and his cat, 𝒁𝒂𝒐𝒅, completely wet. He touches the creature, feeling its fading life force. This explains his massive essence rewards. The creature's eyes shift. Sensing the danger, 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆 asks if something is wrong as it reacts. Suddenly, the beast thrashes. Water pressure spikes as it opens its massive, terrifying maw. A deafening roar leaves them dizzy. The system confirms the World Eater is finally fully healed. Overjoyed, 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆 rushes forward to hug the giant beast, praising its newfound adorable appearance. From the shore, 𝒁𝒂𝒂𝒃 the cat watches with jealous eyes. The whale has stolen his human. 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆 decides the essence spent was worth it. This guardian's life was worth every single point. 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆 approaches the shore, but the jealous cat turns away, ignoring his master's cheerful greeting. The World Eater returns, leaping high into the air and splashing 𝒌𝒂𝒗𝒆 with crystal-clear water. At his feet, a mountain of seafood appears, a gift of gratitude for saving its life. 𝒁𝒂𝒃 happily grabs a fish. Together, they wave goodbye to their massive, legendary sea friend. Helicopters circle above the waves, searching for a threat lurking beneath the deep blue surface. A giant octopus rises. Its massive tentacles strike, turning the military helicopters into explosive fireballs. The monster crawls toward the shore. Before anyone can scream, a massive shadow looms behind it. The World Eater appears. With a terrifying roar, It swallows the giant octopus in one gulp. Witnessing the miracle, the leader stands frozen. He turns to his aide, his voice trembling. Is that legendary whale truly a demigod? Has a human really formed a contract with it? An awakener? He matches the records perfectly. The man's appearance is unmistakable, a demigod's profile. We've tracked him, but the energy readings are completely off the charts. Calamity rises. Sea monsters from Korea are migrating toward southern Japan's shores. 𝒌𝒆 falls into a deep trance of strategy, while his allies whisper in shadows. The Gehenna map. Sanjang watches in awe as he restores the ancient forbidden relic. Is this just a hobby? 𝒌𝒆 smiles, knowing this map holds the key to destiny. A simple act of kindness, or a move on the grand chessboard of fate. Work never ends. Suddenly, a system alert. A legendary swap scroll has been found. The ultimate tracking artifact. No creature can hide from its divine, piercing gaze. He tears the scroll. His mind explodes with visions as the spiritual eye awakens. Hin's location is revealed. Not just her position, but her very soul's energy signature. Bomb leaps. Together, the master and his familiar vanish into the depths of the forest. Crystalline waters and spirit fruits. They have entered a realm of pure, ancient mana. The Teratron Knights. They kneel before him, their savior and their invincible commander. A joyful reunion. But the knight points upward. A new trial awaits in the canopy. He scales the colossal tree. From here, the entire forest's secrets are laid bare. Absolute clarity, but a low growl from Bomb warns of a lurking, unseen predator. The height is dizzying. In the chaos, he realizes he hasn't even fed his companion. Vines strike. In a flash, he's ensnared by the forest's lethal, living traps. Razor leaves graze his skin. A carnivorous beast reveals itself, hungry for hero's blood. Trapped and shouting, he calls for his knights as the plant prepares for the kill. Bomb strikes. The predator is tamed. It's actually surprisingly clingy and cute, a plant that craves affection. The world's logic continues to defy all common sense. Endless mountains ahead. To reach apex peak, they must cross the field of death. The Exam Kingdom exiles. That peak is where their tragic fate finally leads them. He marks the path of legends. One step closer to the truth behind the seal. Next stop, App 2. The search for Sungho's missing traces reaches a critical turning point. A golden barrier. A wall of divine light halts his progress, demanding a sacrifice. Small but deadly. The larva army obeys his command before the beast vanishes again. Where is Bomb? 𝒌𝒆 sprints through the woods, his heart racing with sudden dread. A gentle tap. A tree guardian appears, pointing toward the path of the lost. The spirit nods. Bomb is ahead, moving toward a destiny he cannot yet see. Back at base, despair lingers. The office feels cold without his loyal companion's presence. Uninvited guests. Two powerful figures stand at his door, radiating an intense, heavy aura. 𝒌𝒆, a familiar voice calls. He stands, ready to face whatever new storm approaches. A firm handshake. Kim Hyung-suk of the Hunter Bureau finally meets the rising legend. The introductions are brief. Two titans of the new era finally lock eyes. Your potions are miracles. Hin has been dying to see the man behind them. A humble laugh hides his SSS rank talent. Let me brew tea first, he says. Hin is stunned. You called for me? What business could the master have? A secret scroll is unfurled. From the ancient archives. A gift for your quest. A tracking spell. The ultimate key to finding Sunghyuk is finally in her hands. You crafted this? The bureau chief can't believe a human could translate such power. The secret is out. 𝒌𝒆's connection to the ancient world is deeper than anyone imagined. The truth shatters the air. You've contracted with a demigod, haven't you? You 𝒌𝒆. You don't owe me any explanations. How you wield your extraordinary powers is entirely your choice. But remember this, you have become the cornerstone of the entire Korean hunter community. Stunned by the praise, 𝒌𝒆 listened as Kim continued. Your elixirs raised hunter survival rates by 20%. The bureau is in your debt. Kim handed over a mysterious document, leaving 𝒌𝒆 completely speechless. Are you certain I deserve this? Heejin watched them, confused by the sudden personal gravity of their meeting. I thought this was a casual greeting. Kim merely smiled. This is as personal as it gets. Heejin sighed, turning to 𝒌𝒆. Forgive him. Manager Kim is a legendary workaholic with zero social filter. 𝒍𝒂𝒗 laughed it off. I understand. Next time, the feast is on me as a thank you. Kim beamed as they parted ways. The scene shifts to the bustling lobby of 𝒍𝒂𝒗's office building. After seeing Kim off, the duo headed upstairs to discuss the ambitious proposal 𝒍𝒂𝒗 had drafted. I wanted to test the theory further, but I used the last drops of sacred ink on this scroll. Heejin's eyes sparkled as she grabbed his hands, overwhelmed by his constant help and selfless nature. She praised him as a true saint. But after a moment of joy, a sudden realization hit her. Where is your summoned beast? 𝒍𝒂𝒗's expression darkened with grief. He had to leave. Elsewhere, a majestic snow leopard began a terrifying transformation before a jagged cliffside. A loyal fool, guarding this post despite a broken soul. The fangs of Actis have finally found you. A captive wolf struggled against goblin chains. It was none other than the legendary beast, Growler. The goblins shivered as the wolf bared its teeth, but Growler chose silent endurance over a futile counterattack. Suddenly, a massive platinum-furred feline loomed over the goblins like a god of destruction. The monsters scattered in terror as Bayo approached the shackled wolf with a cold, predatory gaze. Begone, filth of the underworld! His murderous intent sent the goblins screaming into the darkness. Actis, why are you here? Bayo ignored the question, slowly shattering the wolf's heavy shackles. Your meaningless penance ends today, Growler. The wolf struggled to his feet, growling in pure defiance. Arrogant cat! Bayo simply stared back. The world tree is breathing again. Fate has moved. Only God commands me. Leave, you wretched creature. Growler's roar was met with sudden, violent fury. Bayo lunged, sinking his teeth into the wolf's neck. Growler panicked as his massive body began shrinking. I'm not asking for your opinion, dog. I am the divine messenger. Now, shut up and follow. Transition to a desolate, crumbling fortress where 𝒍𝒂𝒗's party searched for ancient relics of power. Why come to these ruins? The girl asked. There are only basic loot boxes hidden here. 𝒍𝒂𝒗 smirked. The Black Lion Knights fled here during the Great War. Secrets lie beneath these stones. As they moved deeper, one of the hunters scoffed, but 𝒍𝒂𝒗's eyes were fixed on a unique blade. It looked ordinary, yet a terrifying pressure radiated from the steel. It was a masterpiece of war. An average sword with a divine aura? It boosts the entire party's attack for 5 full minutes. The party gasped at the rare find. 𝒍𝒂𝒗 quickly fabricated a lie to hide his true insight. They cheered for his incredible luck, trading jokes before venturing into the heart of the dark castle. Deep in the tunnels, 𝒍𝒂𝒗 pondered Kim's advice regarding the SSS-Rank skills he had just awakened. They discovered a hidden breach in the wall, leading them into an impossible, subterranean world. Before them flowed a golden river, radiating a warmth that felt like a forgotten dream. Suddenly, Heejin's magic tome erupted in light, and a runaway scroll surged toward the water. Chaos erupted. A girl was swept into the currents, and 𝒍𝒂𝒗 dove in without a second thought. From the depths emerged the World Eater, a colossal golden whale that gently carried them to safety. 𝒍𝒂𝒗 thanked the ancient guardian as they reached the shore, the party breathless from the encounter. Nearby, a massive magic circle began to glow with an ominous light. The real trial begins now. Like and subscribe to follow 𝒍𝒂𝒗's journey from slave blood outcast to the world's strongest sword legend.